Hello, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you're watching this, and welcome or welcome back to the GrianaigCreations podcast channel. This is episode 105. My name is Kirsty, my pronouns are they, them, and I'm coming to you from an incredibly cold Paisley in Scotland. The weather has really changed here. It's like shockingly cold, but maybe not as cold as some places. I woke up this morning and I was being told the temperature outside was -5, and yeah, that's really chilly. So it is a day for woolens. I'm wearing my Bourne sweater, which is a pattern by Anna of Yarnistry. I knit this, I want to say last year, and I actually haven't worn it until today. I wove in all the ends and cut them yesterday and decided that this weather would be perfect for such a garment. So I'm thoroughly enjoying being nice and cozy in all my knitwear. So first things first, apologies for the glare on the glasses. And this is my second pair if you watched the last episode. I do have a lamp right in front of me because it is now 3:30 in the afternoon and it might look light outside, but it's not light enough in this room without needing an extra light. So you're just gonna have to make do. But I do apologise. Not much I can do. We're going into the Scottish winters. It gets dark here and it's only going to get darker earlier on in the day. And I tend to record on my lunch break as well, so that does not help matters. Okay, I don't have any finished objects. I have like a half finished object and that's it, because I've just been flitting between different projects and then picking up a couple of commissions here or there. So I will go with my half finished object, which is this sock. So this is one of the Grundle hot socks, which is very much like the Perfect you can get from Regia. And you've got like a bunch of yarn in probably like a really random colour that most people wouldn't really want in their sock, which in my instance is the almost neon lime green. And then it goes into the colour for your cuff and then the main colour for your sock. And then when it changes to the solid colour again, that's when you put your heel in, and then it will go back to the main body and then it will go back to pink. And I normally wouldn't buy this type of yarn because I have used Regia Perfect and it's really not meant for people that have like over a UK size 3 or 4, unless you plan on doing the likes of a German short row heel or a fish lips kiss heel, because this is really not enough yarn. I have a friend who has like a UK size 3 and I had to put in more rows on the plain pink than I would before I start the toe, just so that these could fit her. And I 100% realised that I could take yarn out of the length on the leg and add it to the length of the foot, but I feel like that kind of counteracts the point of this yarn, because you're meant to have a matching pair of socks. You're also, like, some people want long legs. So it's not my favourite yarn to use, but I did have it in my stash and I just thought, you know what, it's right there, it's balled up, I don't need to do anything, let's cast it on. So these are going to be for a friend and I can only hope they are going to fit, because I have a cutout of their foot to make like a fish lips kiss heel and it was snug. Like, had I been paying more attention, I would have added more rounds of just plain pink here. So I've got I got 4 rows of plain knitting before I start the decreases for the toe. I probably would have done 8 rows if I'm being honest, so we'll see. I'm probably not going to start the next one until I see her and have her try this on, because, well, no, I could start the second one, and I will start the second one, but if between now and when I see her in 3-4 weeks time, I'm probably not going to finish the toe, so that I can be like, hey, just be honest, do you need more length in the toe? Is it too tight, too snug? And in which case then on the second one I can add more length, and then I can take back this one and add a couple more rows, because I do have more of the pink, so we'll see. But yeah, this is the Grundle Hot Socks, and I like the colour. I couldn't use the yarn myself. I would have to dramatically cut down the length of the leg if I were to make a pair for myself. And I also feel like I would definitely have to do like a German short row heel or a fish lips kiss heel just to utilise as much of the extra yarn I'm putting in the gusset. No, not the gusset. In this part of the foot where it's at its widest. I feel like I could utilise quite a lot here in the length for my feet. So yeah, I will cast on the second one, but I'm not in a rush right now. My friend has no idea I've been making these for her, so I don't feel like there's a deadline, which is nice. I like not having a deadline. Don't know if anyone else is the same, or if deadlines are like your friend. For me, deadlines are not my friend. I'm gonna put it on the floor. Sticking with the theme of socks, I got a text message from my dad, who is a type 2 diabetic and so feels the cold in his feet particularly bad, and he asked if I could make him a pair of socks, and I said of course, because I love knitting socks. It's just something quite mindless for me. I can work on them when I am watching a movie, if I'm out in the car or a coffee shop, or especially when I'm on work meetings and stuff like that. So I went up and grabbed some yarn that I thought was like my dad appropriate, because I don't believe that colours are gender specific, because I don't believe in that. And so I went and specifically picked ones that I thought my dad would quite enjoy, and I gave 3 choices of yarn. One was very subdued in my opinion, the other one had like a small hint of colour, and then the third one was wacky. And I really thought he'd pick the wacky one, but he surprised me and he went with quite the subdued one. And this is just for like the first pair to see how the fit goes. And so I know not to really make a super tight sock with a lot of negative ease. So I've gone with my standard needle size, which is 2.25 millimeters. And I have gone with a 68 stitch count. Normally I would go with 64. Apart from if I'm knitting for my mum, because I know she really doesn't like quite a dense fabric and a tight fabric. So I've gone with a slightly higher stitch count, but on my normal needle size. And this yarn is the Rico Designs Superba Volcano. And it's a lovely sock, like it's a lovely sock yarn. It's just very subdued for me. It's not really colours I would gravitate towards like myself. But sometimes people don't want wacky socks, and that's absolutely fine. So I just got these onto the 9-inch circulars last night, because I was using these 9-inch circulars on the pink sock. And because I needed to do the toe, I literally swapped needles. Like these were on like I think it's like 100 centimeter cable, maybe 120 centimeter cable, and so I swapped these over because I don't like doing what is the name? So these are 9-inch circulars. The name has completely escaped my head now. It's like right there on the tip of my tongue, but like when you work on these and it's like for something really, really short, I don't like doing it. I don't like having to like pull the cable out and like make sure you don't pull the wrong needle out and stuff like that. So yeah, I much prefer doing it on a 9-inch circular. So I swapped those over last night and I got probably like a good 2 inches put on the sock last night, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I was working on other projects. So hopefully I will have these done soon, and he can let me know what he thinks, because for this one, because I have done toe up, I'm gonna do the fish lips kiss heel, but base it on my foot outline that I have, because my dad and I have the exact same size feet, and see what he thinks of the fish lips kiss heel. On the second one, I will do cuff it down and I will do a standard heel flap and gusset, because I just have a feeling he's going to prefer that one. But I always like giving people options when I knit them socks for the first time, because I feel like a fish lips kiss heel isn't the best for some people, and that a heel flap and gusset will be a lot better, because that's kind of what they're used to in shops. And I think it hugs the foot better. But there are people with the complete opposite opinion as me, so I just like giving people options when it comes to socks. But it'll be really good as well, because I'll be able to see like if they're too loose on him, because he has very narrow feet, whereas I have quite wide feet. So yeah, making a wee sock for my dad. First time I've ever knit socks for him. He never normally asks for hand knit socks, so this is a bit different. I have been working on 4 other projects, and one of them is the carved pullover, which I have now split for the sleeves, and I'm now working on the body. You would assume that a lot of my focus would be on this, but I have gone full on let's work on all the projects, which not good, because you make very little dents in each project. But I'm working into the mouth. And I think another reason like I don't have this one on the go at the moment is because I have a music stand that I put my iPad on that has my patterns. Or if I decide to print the pattern off, then the music stand would have the printed pattern on it. But because we've been doing a lot of shifting around in the room, hence the new angle, we also got new chairs. This one rocks, which is really annoying because I'm on a squeaky part of the floor. So yeah, we've done some changes within the flat, and I put the music stand away. I've not lost it, I've just put it away. So it's like more awkward to get out, and because of the new layout of the room and stuff like that, I don't really have somewhere just to pop it when I'm not using it. So I don't want to like get it out to put it up to then break it back down again and put it away for the night. And I know that sounds very lazy, and that's because it is. There's literally no other excuse than I'm lazy. But yeah, I think that's one of the reasons like I've not really worked on this, is because I don't think I've got the pattern printed out. If I do, it's upstairs, and Scott has been on training for his new job, so it's not really been easy to get into the spare room. I'm just making so many more excuses. Sorry, I'm trying to fix... No, that's not gonna work. My bracelet's sitting funny under my sleeve. It's like catching on my sleeve on the inside. So yeah, once I'm done the mouth, then this will just be a really nice project to work on, and the sleeves and stuff. I'm just trying to figure out if I want to flare out the bottom half to accommodate the larger tummy, but we'll see. I kind of wanted one... I don't know what I wanted. I just knew I wanted this sweater, this jumper. But yeah, hopefully I'll get it pulled out soon. But I'm also in one of those things where I'm like, I really want to finish stuff, and so I'm gravitating towards stuff that's closer to being finished, and you'll see that in the next two projects. Sorry, I'm saying a lot. I am knitting this on Cartupu Elite Wool, which is a DK weight yarn. I'm pretty sure the pattern calls for worsted. I don't really have worsted weight, but this Cartupu is a Turkish wool, and it is 51% acrylic and 49% wool. And if you're wondering, yes, I do have two different needles on, because I've got the other size 4 on a much larger cable, so that I can put the extender on it so that I can try it on. Because I've got those, I'm trying to look, I'm sure they were on my drawer unit a couple of days ago, but I've got like a drawstring bag that has these rubber things that you're meant to like put onto the edge of like the end of your needle and then shimmy all your stitches along so you can try stuff on. But I don't know if I'm doing it wrong, but it doesn't work for me, and the stitches get stuck on like the rubber, and I just can't be bothered doing that when I have a cable. Where is it? Should be here. Like, I have a cable all set up. There we go. It looks a mess because it is, but I've got a cable extended to a cable with a needle on the other side of it. Don't know where the other 4mm is, so that I can try my cardigan and my jumpers and stuff on. I had like a different one where it's just like one of my longest cables and an extender, like one of these things in the middle here. But I couldn't find it upstairs, so I had to makeshift with like 2 smaller cables, which is really annoying. So hopefully I will find that extender at some point. But yeah, this, when I was working on it, was such a delight to work on, because y'all know that I am literally Halloween obsessed. But this is, I just really scratched my thumb there. I've actually broken skin. Sometimes you don't realise how sharp your own nails are. This is being kept in my Gibby Russo's bag that I got, I think I ordered it right before Perth in September, and probably going to be one of my last purchases for a while. Okay, so as I was saying, I've been working on projects that are fairly close to being completed because I'm just in the mood to get things done. And one of those projects is my hooded shawl cowl. No, that's not right. Hooded shawl cardigan by Suzanne Summers. And I am working on the hood. And it doesn't look like much. Like, the hood does not look like much at all. But it's the same after you do so many rows of decreasing. So you can see here like the decreases. after so many rows of doing that, you're literally straight knitting for, it's 63 garter bumps. So that's like 126 rows of the exact same thing. I think it's very boring. Especially considering you have to remember to change your yarn and to carry the yarn up so that you've got a really nice slip stitch edge and all that jazz, because you still have to put the border on. So the bottom of the cardigan is still on needles, and I haven't done the sleeves. I haven't even picked up for the sleeves. So hopefully I will not get bored doing the same thing, so that I can get up to the crown decreases and then get the hood finished, and then I'll probably pick up the sleeves before I do the bands. I'm not sure, we'll see. But yeah, it's been nice to get this back up and like working on it, but at the same point doing over 120 rows of the exact same thing just to get a hood, really kind of dull. Getting yarn tangled. Okay, now we can officially call this the crochet portion of the podcast. And one of the projects I have been loving working on recently has been my blanket. I have had this on the go for probably, like, I cast on March or May of 2020. I'm pretty sure it's March. And so this is quite a long whip, but probably not the longest I've ever worked on a blanket. This is currently doubled over, folded in half, and I've also stupidly rolled it up like a sausage. But the last time I showed you was either at this marker here or it was at this marker here. I'm not 100% sure where you last saw it, so I kept in both markers. Well, no, I kept this marker in because this is where the marker was previously, and then I don't know if I showed you between the marker and where I picked the blanket up, if that makes sense. So you may not have seen this whole portion and then this one, but you definitely haven't seen this portion. So I've put on 16 rows within the last week, which doesn't sound like a lot. It's a lot of stitches, and I'm considering calling it quits. So here's the thought process. I thought this blanket was wide enough for a king size bed, and technically it is, but it literally comes to the side of the mattress and no more. It does not hang over, and Scott and I are not small people, we are not thin people, and so there's a lot of us to cover. And then putting us in the same bed, the blanket is not going to cover us successfully to keep us warm. It would if we snuggle, but I don't like snuggling when I'm trying to sleep. That's my time. Get out my space and let me sleep. So this blanket is probably most likely going to be for being all comfy, like singularly on my chair if we're on the sofa together or whatever, but it is probably not going to be used in the bed for the both of us, just for the sake that part of our bodies will be cold. So because it's not going to be used as a blanket for on the bed, unless it's to look pretty, and that seems like a waste. Because of that, I'm trying to decide if the blanket is officially long enough. I was pretty much crashed out on this chair last night, which reclines, hence why it rocked. Well, no, that doesn't make sense. Not all recliners rock, but this chair reclines. And I was kind of like crashed out in it last night because I'd had like a really bad day of Crohn's. And I had been working on the blanket, and it was just so cozy, and I could have it all the way up and I could have it hanging over the bottom of my feet. But bear in mind, like, I wasn't completely flat because of the way like the recliner is, so you're kind of like that, so your feet are kind of still got a slight bend in them, and then your back's still got a bend. So it covered me when I was in this chair, which is going to be my chair going forward for quite a while. But when I laid it against the bed, it was still probably about that much away from the pillows. And it was right at the bottom of the bed, not hanging over. And so I'm just like, it's long enough for being in the living room. It is not not long enough for being in bed. So if I'm like reading on my Kindle in bed, probably not going to be long enough. Or if I was just going to have it draped over me sleeping, it's not going to be long enough. So I'm in a conundrum. Is this going to be a living room blanket, or is this going to be a anything blanket? Because if it's an anything blanket, I need to add more. If it's going to be a living room blanket, then it's done. And I can call it quits after 3 years. Probably, actually, we're closer to 4. We are closer to 4 years. No, it is 4. Was it 2020? I'm sure it was 2020. I'm sure this was a pandemic project. I'm not entirely sure. I'm doubting myself now. If it was 2020 and it was March, we are over the 3.5 year mark. I don't know. It's a long project. Let's call it that way. And I would like to have it finished. But I don't want to end it prematurely and wish I had made it longer. But bear in mind that technically I finished it last night because I thought I had it at the right length. I just have to undo, like literally pull this out. And I've got my loop back so I can add more rows on it. So it's not like I don't have yarn for it. I still have yarn. I still have Opal or Regia. I think it's Opal. I still have Opal minis that I can add into this, and then I do a lot of socks. So I've got sock yarn scraps. So it's not like I don't have yarn. I just want it finished. I don't think that's so hard to ask. I can see why, like, the appeal of granny square blankets, because they're small. Like, you just make a square and then a square and so on and so forth. But then you've got the fun of having to join it all together. Which, now that I know the continuous join as you go method, not terrible. I would make another one. I have enough like acrylic yarn kicking around that I would definitely make more like squares and just have them sit, and then eventually one day put a blanket together. And apologies for that pinging noise. It's just gonna go for like another couple of minutes. I'm still logged on for work. But But yeah, see, told you it would keep going. It's because a lot of my team finish at 4 p.m. and it's now 4 p.m. So everyone's just like, have a nice evening, and I'm like, yeah, some of us don't finish until 6. I got a commission from my husband's aunt. Such a weird thing to say now. After the wedding. It was kind of like one of those things where she saw all the stuff that had been made for the wedding. Obviously, I had not made all of it. And she was just like, if Kirsty is feeling up to it, would they make me something? And I'm like, I'm curious. Depends what. Depends how many. Depends when you need them. And probably depends on the size. So if she'd asked for a sweater, I'd have politely declined. If, excuse me, she'd asked for, say, like a hat and scarf set, I would have considered. But she asked for amigurumi. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm in for this. Like, what's she wanting? She wants minions. She wants 2 minions. And they're for her daughter and son-in-law. And I assume it's like maybe like an inside joke or something. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know them very well. And so I took on the commission. So here's a random, what looks like a giant medical pill, and the start of a slightly smaller medical pill. I have decided to make the bodies in tandem, and then I will move on to like the next colour. So it's 2 separate patterns. One is the slightly taller, slimmer and taller one, and then the other one is the slightly fatter and stubbier one. And then there's a difference between 2 eyes and 1 eye. I love Despicable Me and I love the Minions movie, but I just don't know them well enough to be like, yeah, one's Stuart and one's Bob or whatever their names are. So one's the longer and taller one, one's the short and stubby one. And so yeah, because I have the yarn packed away in the unit behind where I'm filming, I've decided just to do each bit in each colour and be done with each colour in turn. So it looks weird. They're sat on my work desk, and like I say, it just looks like a big massive giant tablet, which has to be bizarre if someone walked in and was just like, what on earth is that? So yeah, that's the last of my making. I have a commission that I'm going to pick up. My computer screen just woke up. I was like, what the heck? I have a second commission that I'm going to be taking on, which is to make an axolotl, which I'm actually really looking forward to. I had been asked to make an axolotl probably about 1.5 years ago by someone that Scott worked with, but he ended up leaving that job and they never followed up on the commission, and neither did I, to be perfectly honest. And so I'm really curious to make it, but the colour that they want is out of stock. And so I'm hoping to maybe get down to see my parents this weekend, and I'll nip into the Wee Crafty Owl and hopefully pick up the colour that they want. I could order it from a different person online, but I don't know their delivery times. Like, do you know what I mean? So also the wedgie, the wedgie? The website looked a bit dodgy. So that's website and dodgy put together, even though wedgie is a word. So yeah, I'm hoping to get the colour that they've requested, because I sent them the link for Wool Warehouse and I don't think they realised they picked one that was out of stock. So I don't really want to send the link back to them and be like, hey, could you find another colour? This one's out of stock. So I have plenty of time to get it made because they live in the same town as me, so it's not like I'm going to have to try and get down during like really, really bad weather or anything, but it is for their granddaughter who is obsessed with axolotls. So I will get that done, but I don't think I'm going to be taking on any other commissions. I don't think I'm actually going to be casting on any new projects either, because like I say, I want to get some stuff finished and off the needles and hooks, and I'm definitely not going to get my cross stitch finished anytime soon. Whoops. So yeah, I'm just in the mood to get stuff finished, whereas like just a couple of weeks ago I was in like the full on cast on mood, and I only got one thing cast on. So yeah, I feel out of breath, but I'm also leaning forward, because if I lean all the way back, like I'm quite far away and I don't know how the audio is going to be. Yeah, I love how the winter air makes it very dry. But yeah, life has been interesting recently. Scott and I now share a car. I sold my car and we now share his. And he had noticed at the weekend there that the front passenger light, like the headlight, was out. And so we're like, right, okay, we need to get to Halford to get a new bulb, pay them to fit it, and that'll be us. That'll be it, done, fixed. Knowing that the car does actually need more work than that. Like it is booked in to get a bunch of work done so that it will pass its MOT. We were looking at about £400 for that. And one of the things was a new battery, because the car is over 10 years old and it's still got the original battery in it, which apparently is very surprising. And so we got the light fitted, but we were having to wait in a bit of a queue, and we did not have the car running. This is the thing, we did not have the car running, and we had not had a single problem with the car up till this point. But the guy fitted the light and we went to leave and the car wouldn't start. And we're like, oh shit. So the guy came back and he tried to jump the car and it didn't work. And then he went away and he got like this wee gadget that checked like the percentage of the battery. And he either said 19 or 9%. And I'm like, well, if it's 19, surely the car would have started. But I'm sure I heard the teen. And so they were like, yeah, it's like they tried to jump it and then they got the gadget, because the jumping it wouldn't work. And we're like, oh, that's not good when your car doesn't jump start. And so we ended up getting a battery through them, which was really annoying because we were getting one through the guy that's going to do the work, and it was a wee bit cheaper than what Halfords were charging. So we bought the battery, paid for them to fit it, and they couldn't get the old battery out. So we were like, well, what do we do now? So they refunded us the price of getting the battery fitted because they didn't fit it. And the mechanic had to bump start us, not jump start, bump start. And we were like, he's like, do you know how to do it? And we're like, no. And he's just like, oh, you get in the car, you put it in first gear, or I don't know how you do it. I don't understand it. I'd never want to do it ever. And so we were pushing this car and I just could not stop laughing, and I was just like, this is just so typical. Like, everything was going great, the wedding happened, everything was great, we were just enjoying married life, and now it's just like pile of shit. So we got home. Our friend who is doing the work next week came round the following day, managed to get the old battery out. So the bolts and nuts and stuff had fused together. So he managed to get it out, no problem at all. And that's been fine. We went to bed that night. Our electric blanket's broken. It's really, really cold in our flat. we've got a lot of external walls. Like we don't have anyone living on that side of us, just that side. And so it's really, really cold in our flat. It's really cold outside. And our electric blanket broke. So that was gutting. So I've had to buy a replacement, which I really didn't want to have to do because the car's already costing so much money. I've just realised how yellow this whole picture is. So apologies. But it is like an indoor bulb I'm using. So yeah, I'm officially on like a spending ban. Christmas is currently postponed in our household. We just can't afford gifts. The car is just costing quite a bit of money. I'm on a book ban, I'm on a yarn ban. I'm not saying that to get like any sympathy or for especially for anyone to turn around and be like, oh, you shouldn't put yourself in these types of bans. I know that. I am 100% aware of that, and I don't care for your advice. This is something I am doing. It's something I need to do because I'm very impulsive. I'm also very mood driven. So if I'm in a bad mood, I either want to eat or I want to spend money. And at the rate I'm putting on the weight, I've exceeded both of those. I gotta curb the eating, I gotta curb the spending. So yeah, life is just throwing us a slightly nasty portion, but I'm sure things will turn around. Like we got our new chairs, so that was good. Just took a while. We then had to get slightly longer curtains because, as you can see in the image, like in the video, we have an upper window and a lower window. Yes, these are frosted, but our curtains only kind of came to literally probably at the bottom of where you can see the video, and we don't get a draft in these windows, but you can still feel the cold coming off of them, and that makes a big difference in a living room when you've got such a big window. So we had to get new curtains. Well, IKEA was meant to do a curtain that would fit and for really cheap, but they're shockingly thin, like really, really pathetically thin. So what was meant to only cost us about £24 ended up costing us £70. And I like these better than IKEA anyway, but it was £70 I wasn't expecting to spend. So between £70 pair of curtains, a new £30 electric blanket, and a 400, I think it's like £410, £420 for the car, which has now actually ended up costing more because the battery costs us more and the bulb. So yeah, it's been a very expensive month. But you guys don't care. I'm just rambling now. I actually do need to get back to work, so I'm going to wrap this up here, but thank you so much for watching. I was trying to do videos every 2 weeks, but I don't think it's worked out this time. I think I've now gone to about 3 weeks. Just the way life has been, between being tired or being busy at the weekends and stuff. That's the second ambulance that's gone by. But yeah, I'm going to go off to bed? No, I wish I was going off to bed. I'm going to go back to work. I've got just under 2 hours left, 3 hours 45. And then Scott and I are going to go food shopping, stock up the freezer with some meat, stock up the pantry with some non-perishables, because if this weather is going to keep up, I do not want to be going outside. As simple as that. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, please do stay safe and happy crafting. Bye.